Good morning. Well, I've been getting a lot of questions about my baby daddy. Obviously, I wasn't able to have a child just, on my lonesome. I had her when I was 16. She is now going to be 10 at the end of October, and I'm really excited. So let me go ahead and just talk about it. So I was like, we met in January of 2006. And he and I met because I used to hang out with the gangsters in the neighborhood. And it's never a good idea to owe a drug dealer money. And I had owed somebody money, and he was in the lobby building. Well, this is unedited. Okay. So I used to hang out with the gangsters, and I had my own little hustle too. I've been to juvenile hall for possession of drugs with the intent to sell. My dad would tell you it was like I was living a double life. I would, in the morning, take a shower, put on my uniform, go to school from 8 to 2, 8 to 3, whatever it was. And then I would come home. My dad always had dinner on the table for me. I would eat dinner, change my clothes, and be on the streets. And it was like 50-50 chance of me coming home with cops. Because I was hanging out with the gangsters, And right across the street from my best friend's apartment, she still lives there. So it's kind of like memory road every time I pass by that block. He was there with my homie and a homegirl, and I think another homie. It was like four or five of them. And I'm walking past, coming from the store, doing whatever the fuck I was doing. It was like, I don't know, 1 a.m. or something. I'm wearing pajamas. Okay. Not caring. Like, I've never been the kind of person to really care. So anyway, they call me in, and my friend is like, "Where's my money?" And I'm like, "I've been paying you." And he's like, "Nah, nah, nah." And he tells, his name is Spanky. He's like, "Take her to the back, handle her." And I'm like, fuck, I'm about to get my ass kicked. Like, like, what? And so he and I were talking, and that's how I met him. And he gave me a hug, and he didn't hit me, nothing. He gave me a hug, and I felt something. And it seems like he felt me too, because like after we first met, it was like we were always we hanged out with the same people, so we were like always bumping into each other and whatnot. So before you know it, we start really hanging out, not just in the neighborhood, but he was like, "Come to my house." I would go with him to his friend's house. We committed some crimes together. And I'm sharing all this shit now because he's in fucking prison and my record is expunged. And so what the fuck are you gonna do? We we got stopped by the cops a few times. I'm like 14 saying that I was 18. I wasn't. I don't know if the cops just let me go because they were like, "This is dumb. I don't know what the hell's going on with them," or if I was just like a really good actress and they just like really believed me. I don't know what it was. The first time we kissed was it got really hot in the neighborhood, and what really hot in the neighborhood means is that there was cops everywhere, everywhere, and I did not feel like going home. I was just like, I lived in a studio apartment with my father, so that was the reason why I was not home. I did not want to be home. I did not want to be there. It was I didn't have my if I had my own room, things were different, then things would have been different, So that's what it was. So I went with him, and we were doing our thing. He takes me to his house, and like in the morning, he like wakes up and kisses me, and before you know it, I'm going to his house on the weekends. I am we used to get out of school early, like on Tuesdays after school. I used to go see him, and people are like, "Oh, well, what about your dad?" My dad was busy, and I was always at my best friend's house, so it's nothing to say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to my best friend's house." It's nothing. It was really nothing. So, that's basically what it was. And he was out of prison. That's why I hadn't seen him before. He was divorced. He was divorced in prison. At that time, he only had one daughter. Now, I might have these names wrong because it's been years. Like now, I haven't spoken to him in 7 years. He had a kid when he was like 18, 19. I think that's not Eva Marie. Mariana? I think it's Mariana. Then it's Eva Marie. Then it's my daughter Shauna, and then it's a fourth daughter Madison. 3 baby mamas. Mariana, him and her mom, they were together. They were like 18, 19 years old. He was drinking a lot, and always on the streets, and she didn't like that. And one day he came home, and her and his daughter were gone. That's what he told me. There's 3 sides to every story: his story, her story, and the truth. I don't know what happened, but that's what I was told. And then after that, he's a gangbanger, so he's in out of jail, in out of prison. So it was never really. He straight up told me, like, I'm never the kind of person to go to court. I'm not going to fight you or nothing. It's just like, fuck it. Like, that's just what it is. Like, I'm just going to respect it, accept it, and move the fuck on. Like, he told me that when we were together. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. So going back to between the ages of, I was 14, 15, 16 years old. He and I were really like together. Like he was my fucking everything. Like if you've ever had my love, like, oh my God, he used to call me, I used to go. We got into a fight, and he was like blowing me up. And I was just like, nah, fuck you. I came home from school. My dad's like, why is this grown ass man knocking on my door? And I was just like, no shame. He did not give a fuck. He was like, how old was he? He was like 20. He was in his early 20s. Like, this is so wrong on so many levels. But like, I clearly knew what the fuck, like, I knew what the fuck we were doing. Like, I fucking did. And it's just, still to me, doesn't make sense. Like, if, I mean, I understand being an adult and consent and stuff, and you don't really understand, yada, 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 but I knew what the fuck I was doing. It was this one time, he's walking me to the bus, and he's like, and I'm telling him, like, I have no lunch money tomorrow. Like, I haven't been, hustling. My dad is mad at me again or whatever. And he This poor guy. This guy was walking towards us, minding his own business. He got robbed, okay? My baby daddy robbed his ass so I could have lunch money. So oh my god, it's not funny. It's horrible. It is horrible. But thinking back, I'm like, oh my god, like this shit was crazy. Like this shit was fucking crazy. um what else? So I ended up going to juvenile hall, and I mean there's still so before I went, like a few weeks before I had went to juvenile hall, this girl calls his phone. It's like 11 o'clock midnight, whatever. And I'm like, I've never been like, who the fuck's on the phone, blah, blah, blah. I've never been like that. I've kind of been like, handle your business. It's kind of odd to be calling, this late. But also, it's like, when you deal with drug dealers and gangbangers, you know what I mean? So it's like anyone can hit you up. It's not odd for the phone to be. It was odd that he like got the phone and he was just like, let me listen. And kind of that was odd. So I was just like, okay, I feel like that's something, you should go handle this, And once again, he was divorced. Like, I saw the divorce papers. Like, and I was already doing what the fuck I was doing. Like, bitch, if you want to come in, you could come on in. Like, no one is ever gonna fucking slow my shit down, what the fuck I got going on. Even though if I didn't know what the fuck was going on, even if I was like, too young, whatever the fuck, I'm doing something. You're interfering with the fuck I'm doing. That's your fucking problem. So, he went out. I later learned that he had went out to talk to her and said that they were going to give each other another chance, and he was gonna send me home and like, end our relationship. That's what I found out later on. At that time, that's not what he told me. He said that, like the next morning, like I had to go to school, I had to go home, like either way. So I had left, and he, we were still seeing each other. We were still talking. He told me that him and her, like, something like she was on drugs or she didn't have a place to go. He said some stupid shit like that, which I learned later on that was a lie, But at that time, that's what he had told me, and I had no reason not to believe him or anything else. So that's when basically he broke up with me because, this girl's living in your house. I can't just go whenever, and it's, so it was like that. I was really heartbroken. I was crying all day in school. I felt really hurt. Like, I felt like I really loved him. Then later on that day, I ended up going to juvenile hall because I swear to this day, I had got dumped early in the morning, basically, and then I had a long fucking day in school, and then I get home, and I swear to this day, it's been fucking forever, but I swear my dad spit on me. We were arguing, he was yelling at me something, and he fucking spit on me, and I beat his ass with his work boot, and that night, I was in fucking juvenile hall. And when I went to juvenile hall, I called him. I called Spanky, and he was just like, everything's still gonna be okay. Because it was my first time in there. I've been like, I was never like booked, and like I was never booked. Like the cops would bring me home, or like my dad had to pick me up from the station a few times, like a couple. But I'm 26 now, so I'm able to laugh about it. And yeah, he like very supportive, like, just write me, call me every day, stay strong. Like he's like been he was very much like that for me. And I would hear her sometimes in the background, and he was just like telling me like he still loves me, that we're still good, that, he'll see me whenever I get out, stuff like that. Like he was writing whatever placement that I went to, and I gave him the information. He was writing me. Like he wrote me, like he did that. And we all, if you've ever been to juvenile hall, if you've ever been to jail, you know that once you get in, like those letters stop coming. Like they don't be coming as often. And, so I really felt like he loved me. And so I did my, after, it's been like a week or two in juvenile hall, and then I went to suitable placement, and my friend is hitting me up on Snapchat, but she's gonna have to wait. And like 3 months later, I was gone. I was fucking gone for 3 months. I was in a placement. I had a placement boyfriend and all. Oh my God. In my life. Oh my God. And so when I got out, I'm like, I'm home. And he was just like, I want to see you. And this girl was still there, and I knew he was fucking the both of us. I knew that our kids are exactly 9 months apart. He was at the time telling me that she didn't have no place to go, that he wasn't even sure the baby was his. They have a lot of history. Playing it, totally fucking playing it. And I was young, and I didn't give a shit. And I always felt like, bitch, you called, I was there. Like, you were fucking divorced. So, bitch, like, that's, and honestly, to this day, like, I still kind of feel like that, like, you guys are broken up, you called him, he's with another girl, and you still press it. Like, I really don't feel no type of way. Like, oh, well. Plus, young, and, like, he was there for me. So, oh, well. Soon she was, pregnant. Our daughters are exactly 9 months apart. When I found out that I was pregnant, because he and her were still together, still living together and everything, I was like, let me go to a fucking group home. Let me just get the fuck, because I was still living at home with my dad, Now I'm a teenager and pregnant, and it's like everything just hit me. And I didn't tell him I was pregnant until I was like 5 months pregnant, 4 or 5 months pregnant. And the only reason why I told him was because literally everyone was telling me that, oh, he has the right to know. And I have some regrets telling him that I was pregnant. I really do. So I found out that I was pregnant. I went to juvenile hall because I didn't want to go home. So I just talked to my probation officer, and my probation officer wanted me to do house. I was on some type of violation, and the probation officer was like, "Okay, well, you can be on house arrest because I know that you're really trying. Like I'm still going to school. I'm actually like ahead of my class. Like everyone has to come into school at like 7:30. I don't get there until like 10 because I got my credits, you know? Um so then yeah, I really didn't talk to him. I really didn't do nothing until I was like 4 or 5 months pregnant, and then he started this shit again. It was the letters. It was he went to jail, and at one point he was calling her and she was calling me, and we were doing a three-way because I had a cell phone. Three-way calling, you know, old school. And she would like put the phone on mute or whatever and like cook, clean, take care of her baby, whatever she was, I guess, because she wasn't listening to what the fuck he was telling me. Okay. And so he was still, you know, playing. He was still, you know, doing those things. And, you know, now I'm 16. I'm pregnant. I'm in a group home with 16 other fucking... In my house alone, in the cottage alone, was like 16 bitches. You know? And he and I, we've been through so much. Like, it's a different kind of love. Like, it's unhealthy. It's bad. I don't fucking suggest it on anyone. Like, when you fall in love with a gangster, like... It's more than just jail, prison visits. It's more than just letters. Like, it's a different kind of fucking shit. And if you ain't about it, don't be about it, because it's really not all that. You know, you end up dead or in jail. Or you end up not even knowing the person that you were like so about. It's been 7 years, you guys. I have not seen him. I've not spoken to him. Nothing. 7 years. The county, because it was a point in my life when my dad and my dad was on welfare, and he also claimed my daughter. And so when you're on welfare, when you ask for aid in California, they automatically put out child support, and they go look for the father. Or they go look for the mother, whatever. And because he's always in prison, you know, kind of, you would think it'll take, you know, a easier time to find someone. But no, not necessarily. Like, I'm telling you, years go by. And we're in October, like in May, we started getting notices from LA child support talking about non-custodial parent. And I'm like, but I been took away his fucking rights. So it was just like, yeah. And so my family and I were freaked out. We're like, we can't have this guy back in our lives. Like, we can't, like I got pregnant. I went to a group home. I stayed there. I graduated high school. I've been on my own. He and I tried to be back together, basically. And then, like, I went to college. And I haven't seen or spoken to him in 7 years. You know? So it's like, why the fuck would I want to go back? And so we had to do the DNA test because fuck it. And, you know, we're 99.99999999997. So anyone who fucking, I might be a hoe. I might be all of that. But you know what I do know? And what I've always known? Who my baby daddy is. Okay? So... getting that letter and like having to do the DNA test, getting that was of a wake up call of like, hey, this person still exists. Yeah, because you live your whole life and you're like, you kind of like, I kind of fucking forget about him. Like, honestly, like, who? What? I don't even give it much thought, to be completely honest, until it's like her birthday and it's like the holidays, and it's like, fuck, like, she doesn't have a father. And then I really don't feel bad because it's like his other kids don't really have him either. So it's not like he got remarried and, you know, fuck my kid. It's, where is he? He's in prison. His other kids don't have him either. He's not a good fucking person, you know. So anyway, let me back up the story a little bit. So back when I was like, when I found out that I was pregnant, you know, we started talking more often. He told me, and I'm very much pro-choice, and I was in that position, and I found out I was pregnant. I was about 2-3 months pregnant already, so I was leaning towards adoption. And I was leaning towards adoption because I was going to be a single teen. I was a single teen mom. That was the only fucking reason. I didn't feel like that was valid enough. I wasn't going to be a teenager forever. And ultimately, I decided to keep my baby. But I did have a few weeks. I did think about it. I did talk to a therapist. I did my research. Like, I educated myself and made sure that me having my daughter would mean that, like, I knew the resources available to me, that I had the kind of support that I needed without her father being around. I made that happen. So being able to educate myself and sit and think about my life and my choices and what I was going to do as an adult, as a single mother, with everything, having that freedom to choose really, really, really helped me out. No one, I wasn't forced to have my kid, and I love her so much, and we've been through hell and back, and I'm her mom, and I'm really grateful to have that time and the respect, and, you know, being able to think like, okay, what do I really want? So soon enough, he went back to jail, and then he went back to jail. And basically, but when I got released from the placement, he had been released from prison. So we were basically locked up together. He got out 2 weeks before I got out, and he went back to Ashley. And I knew he was going to get back to Ashley because I hadn't been out yet, and I didn't know where I was going to go myself. I ended up going to a transitional rehab center place in Corona, and he had stayed like in Colton, like around there. So I'm guessing it was not too far, because as soon as I got to Corona, like the next day, Ashley brought him to the house to meet his daughter for the first time. My daughter was like 1 year and 3 months when she first met her father, because I was in a group home and he was in prison, jail, whatever. We did the visits. I stayed in that fucking place for like a week, really. Even in our visits, you know, he is still telling me like, we should try this out. He doesn't want Ashley. That, you know, that's completely done. They've tried it, you know, the letters, the little visits, whatever it is that she was doing for him. And he was like, you know, still feeding me, that he still like loved me and that he still wanted me. And I really wanted my little family together. That I really wanted it. I really did. And it sucks because I don't want it anymore. So I was like, okay. I mean, I was too young. You know, I've been in juvenile hall, been in placement, you've been in jail, and we really haven't had a chance. So, but you're with her. Let's just do this visits things. You know, I'm not in, for the back and forth courts and shit. If my kid needs something, please fucking get it. Because you don't want me to go back to jail because shit, I'll fucking hustle. I'll flip some shit real quick. And he was just like, no, you don't need to be doing that. You need to, like, focus. You're a mom now, And I was like, okay. That soon fell apart because he soon went back to jail. My daughter actually had to stay with Ashley for like a night or two, and Ashley had to bring her to me. And at that time in my life, I was homeless. I was staying in a hotel. So Ashley at some point Ashley and Spanky were trying to like serve me with papers that they were gonna take me to court to get custody of Shauna because of my living situation. But like I fucking tell every fucking body, just because someone's in a bad spot today, that might not necessarily be the same thing tomorrow. And you fucking think that I'm gonna fucking hand my kid over to her father's in and out of fucking prison. And actually, it may or may not be a fucking drug recovery addict. So I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what that is. I'm not saying anything bad about people who are in recovery, but I don't know how long she's been in. I don't know her drug of choice. My mama relapsed after being clean for 8.5 years. So why the fuck can't you? What the hell are you exposing my child to? My fucking situation. I just got out the fucking system. I had no place to go. You're gonna take my kid because of that? Yeah. So it didn't happen. He went to jail. She was like, I have to be in LA tomorrow anyway, or, the next day anyway. So, she's having a good, like, Eva, her daughter, because Shauna and Eva are exactly 9 months apart. Eva's birthday's in January. My daughter's birthday's in October. She was like, so, I'll just bring her. Like, the kids are getting along. I love having her. And she spoke to me, like, nice. Me and her, because of the situation, we always had, like, a beef. Like, ready, like, cross the street, sock that bitch. Like, boom, bitch. But the one time I had my hands on her, Eva freaked the fuck out. My daughter was just chilling in her stroller, and Eva freaked the fuck out, and I stopped and I turned around. And so this goes to my next story. This is part one. It's just 30 fucking minutes. I'm sorry, but this shit is long.